Look, I'm diving into something here that might rub a lot of folks the wrong way. But hey, it's a talk we gotta have if we're being real. You know what I've been spotting all over the place lately? Guys in their 40s, regular dudes, not rolling in millions, not strutting like runway models, suddenly getting hit up by women. Who wouldn't have spared them a glance back in the day, like 15 years ago? These are the same women who blew through their 20s and 30s swiping no on anybody shorter than 6 feet, anybody pulling less than 6 figs, anybody missing that full-on dream guy vibe. Now, out of nowhere, these ladies are sliding into DMs first, showing real interest, bending on those ironclad must-haves. And the guys, they're scratching their heads like, "Ho, did I level up? Am I finally the catch? Did I turn into the dude women are chasing?" Hold up before you jump in the comments, let me flip it back at you. When exactly did you get hotter? Was it hitting 42 with a hairline that's retreated more than at 25? When your metabolism decided to take a permanent vacation? Or maybe those crow's feet from grinding through a decade of office BS? Chew on that for a sec. I'll wait. Got it. Nah, you didn't magically upgrade your appeal. Something else flipped. The whole damn market shifted. And once you clock what's really going down, you'll never buy into this sudden glow-up BS again. Let me sketch this out like a straight-up marketplace, cause that's what dating boils down to. On one side, buyers calling the shots. On the flip, sellers hustling. For ages, those buyers held all the cards they could nitpick like pros, demanding top-shelf goods for bargain bin prices, axing 95% of the inventory, and still walking away with choices galore. Then boom, the winds change. Supply tanks. Demand holds steady or spikes. Now those picky buyers are scrambling against each other for the scraps. And the sellers they snubbed way back? They're not sitting on shelves anymore. Some got snapped up elsewhere. Others figured out their cool flying solo. That's the exact play unfolding in the dating world for women pushing 40. And it's the real reason average Joes are pulling attention they couldn't buy before. Break it down to when she was 25. Let's name her Jessica for the story. She's fresh in marketing, scraping by on for okay, bunking with roomies, rolling in a beat-up Honda Civic that's one pothole from retirement. But flip to the apps. She's locking matches with docs, attorneys, Wall Street types, dudes banking 6 figures, owning cribs, towering at 6 feet 2, with 6-packs and passports stamped from exotic spots. Dates roll in fancy spots where they foot the bill, vie for her time like it's a prize. This brews a killer illusion. She thinks, damn, I pull high caliber. This is my league. These are the guys I rate. But here's the blind spot most 25-year-olds miss. Attention ain't the same as a ring or real commitment. Those baller dudes in their 30s and 40s, they're keeping it light, casual vibes only. They're soaking up the perks of a fresh-faced, no drama chick, no ex-spouse drama, no kiddos, no fortress of trust issues from 2 decades of heartbreaks. Jessica doesn't clock the gap. She just sees the swipes, the outings, the buzz from elite men. Boom, her brain files it as this is my standard. This is what I'm owed. So when some solid 27-year-old slides and pulling 5K, sensible wheels, decent pad, ready to lock it down for real, she hits left. Too short, to basic, to meh. With matches piling up like spam, she can afford the snub. Balls squarely in her court. Peel back the filters, and it's backed by app data, not guesses. Height floor, 6 feet poof, 85% of guys gone. Income gate, 75K 100 came in. By the end, she's eyeing maybe 2 to 3% of the pool. And those top-shelf dudes, they know their worth. Options overflow. Why tie down with her when they can cycle through hot 20-somethings forever? But the logic doesn't land yet. She's 25 times endless. Settling down? Later. Right now. It's career grind, squad hangs, YOLO adventures. High-value hubby hunt can wait till she's ready. Till Mr. Perfect ticks every box. See the setup? Fast forward to 32. Jessica's climbing maybe 5K now. A bit more polished, but the scene's morphed in sneaky ways. Those 30s, 40s success stories who wind her at 25. They're orbiting mid-20s now. She's not the fresh pick anymore. Battling chicks 5 to 7 years junior with that same youthful glow, zero baggage. Matches trickle, quality dips. Dudes hitting her up? Not the A-listers she's hooked on. But her bar's stuck high cause her self-view hasn't budged. She still craves that 25 level pull. Whispers start. Where'd the keepers go? Everyone's taken. Guys get shook by boss babes. Can't handle strength. Coping shields. Ego armor against the raw fact. Market flipped. But her asks stayed sky high. Mismatched to her current pull dot at 32. Options linger, but they're the meh ones. Solid earners at 60 to 8 okay. Commitment ready? Still next she's clinging to that old high. That's my floor, she thinks. Then the pivot hits between 36 to 40. Bio clock blares. Ignoring her promo path. Kids on the radar. Windows narrowing fast fertility crashes post 35. Nosedives after 40. Hard science, not shade. No kids, different snag. Her target dudes are hitched or locked in. Singles, flawed, younger hunting, or divorce wary. Pool's not shrunk, it's a puddle. Suddenly, those average rejects from 25 to 30 gleam brighter. Crunch it econ style. Markets run on supply-demand value. Dating's no diff. Ages twist the scales. Her at 25, dude flood, picky paradise, peak value, dynamic dominance. Her at 40, suitor drought, younger comp for elite scraps, biotic pressure power drained. Him at 25, underdog, battling vets, low pull. Him at 40, built up success, value spikes, 25 to 45 range, option overload, leverage king. Market correction in full swing. Her 25 edge? Now his 40 ace. Women who ghosted you? Clocking your choices to dot buddy of mine. Mike, 43 decent paycheck. No flash, average Joe. Stand-up guy. 20s. App crickets 1 reply per 20 cents. Dates unicorns. Now, inbox buzzing from degreed pros. Career queens. Total packages. Mike's baffled. What clicked? Am I hot now? I broke it. Nah. Mike, you're bolder, softer, wearier. But their menu shrunk. Dream dudes from 25? Off market at 40. You're the upgrade cause alternatives ghosted. Red flags. She's fast tracking cohabitation chats post months. Marriage. Kids whispers weeks in. Not you vibes. Timeline crunch. She name drops types, usually taller, adventurous, successful. Code, your exception. Not rule necessity driven. Visible settle. Wince at your pad. Wheels, vacay plans downward recalib. Constant comps. X's flashier, richer, frillier mourning her deserved life. New Sarah spreadsheet selector. Height, salary, travel, head. Carmen's, her gig basic. 38, musts to maybes to whatevs. Dated at 28 no-go. Solid, but resentment simmered. Chain eats over upscale. Sensible ride over lux settles sting. Self-inflicted. Here's the part most guys never see coming. When women settle. They don't just quietly accept it, they resent it. And that resentment doesn't stay locked in a box labeled her problem. It leaks into everything. Every dinner, every vacation, every quiet Tuesday night on the couch. She looks at you and, somewhere in the back of her mind, she's running a constant comparison to the life she thought she'd have. The life she believes she was supposed to have with the 6'3" finance pro who took her to the Maldives when she was 26. You become the living reminder that the bet she placed on herself didn't pay off. And human nature being what it is, it's a lot easier to quietly blame you than to sit with the fact that she miscalculated the market. For 15 straight years, I watched this play out with a client. Let's call him David, 45, solid engineer. Owns a modest house, no debt, dad bod but takes care of himself. At 28, he was invisible. Now he's got 3 different 39 to 42-year-old women rotating through his phone, all divorced, all attractive, all with good jobs, all acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread. One of them, Lauren, moved the relationship at warp speed. I don't want to waste time after date 3. I can see a future by week 6. Talking about freezing her eggs just in case, but really wanting to try naturally with him. David was flattered until he started noticing the micro expressions. The tiny eye roll when he suggested a camping weekend instead of an all-inclusive resort. The way she'd go quiet when his 401k balance came up in conversation, not because it was bad, but because it wasn't 8 figures. The offhand comments, like my ex always flew first class. Little paper cuts that added up to one clear message. You're good enough to settle for, but you'll never be the prize. And here's the kicker. David almost fell for it. He almost proposed inside of 10 months because, in his words, I never thought women like her would even look at me. That's how powerful the sudden validation feels when you've spent decades on the bench. But once he saw the resentment pattern, once he realized every compromise she made came with a silent tax, he'd pay for the rest of the relationship. He pumped the brakes. He's still dating. But now he dates 31-year-olds who look at his house and think goals, not acceptable. Divorced women over 40 bring an extra suitcase most guys don't open until it's too late. That ex-husband isn't just some guy from her past. He's a permanent board member in her life LLC, co-parenting schedules, child support fluctuations, alimony renegotiations, surprise medical bills for the kids. Every single one of those lands in your shared inbox the moment you get serious. I had a client who was 6 months into dating a 41-year-old divorced mom of 2. Things were great until the ex lost his job and suddenly needed to move the kids 3 hours away for work overnight. Her custody agreement was in court. Her stress went through the roof, and my client found himself paying for lawyers he'd never met to fight a battle that wasn't his. That's the hidden cost nobody puts in the dating profile. Then there's the emotional residue. Divorce doesn't end cleanly. It leaves shrapnel. She's got triggers you didn't plant, trust issues you didn't create, and a comparison engine that runs 24/7. You say, I'm heading to the gym. And somewhere in her head, it's measured against the ex who never made time for himself. You plan a budget vacation, and she's remembering the European summers with the previous guy. You're not just dating her. You're dating the ghost of a marriage that already failed once. And you're expected to outperform it while being reminded you're the sequel, not the original blockbuster. Let's run the actual numbers because feelings lie, but math doesn't. A reasonably fit, financially stable man at 43 can realistically date women from about 25 to 48. That's a 23-year dating pool. If he's in the top 30% of men in his age bracket, which most professionally employed, non-broke, non-addicted guys are, he's in demand across that entire range. A woman at 43? Her realistic pool is roughly 40 to 52, maybe 55 if she's exceptionally fit and high-earning. That's a 12 to 15-year window, and the majority of the desirable men in that window are either married, freshly divorced and gun-shy, or openly dating 28 to 35-year-olds. When you crunch the data from the big apps, not the marketed stats, the leaked internal numbers, women over 40 are getting 70 to 80% fewer quality matches than they did at 30, while men over 40 are getting 2 to 3 more inbound interest than they got at 30. The inversion is brutal and undeniable. Fertility reality check. Because we can't talk about this age bracket without it. A healthy 25-year-old woman has roughly a 20 to 25% chance of conceiving per cycle. At 35, it's about 15%. At 40, it's 5% or less. By 43 to 44, it's single digits and dropping fast, with skyrocketing risks of miscarriage, chromosomal issues, and pregnancy complications. That's not opinion. That's CDC and ASRM data. A man at 45? Still firing on all cylinders. Sperm quality dips a little, but he can father healthy kids into his 50s and beyond. Without much drama, this single biological asymmetry flips the entire power structure on its head. The same woman who could afford to wait at 28 is now sending "I'm open to kids" hints on the second date at 41 because the clock isn't ticking. It's screaming. That desperation shows up in ways that feel flattering until you realize what's driving it. She laughs a little too hard at jokes that aren't that funny. She overlooks red flags she would have torpedoed at 29. She starts future-faking hard. When we have kids, when we buy a house, 6 weeks in. It's not that she's head over heels for you. It's that you're fertile, financially stable, and willing. And the calendar is on fire. And here's the part that stings for a lot of women reading this. The high-value men you chased in your 20s and 30s, they're not suddenly single and looking for peers at 45. They're either happily married to the woman they locked down at 31, or they're dating 31-year-olds right now. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't become a meme by accident. He's just the most visible example of a market truth playing out in real time. The 45-year-old surgeon isn't on Hinge swiping on 45-year-old marketing directors. He's matching with the 29-year-old yoga instructor who thinks his dad bod is distinguished. So when that 41-year-old messages you, the average 44-year-old guy with a mortgage and a 401k, understand what's actually happening. She's not waking up one day thinking, you know who's hot? Balding Dave from accounting with the practical SUV. She's waking up thinking, my eggs have an expiration date. The good ones are taken, and Dave is willing and able. That's it. You moved from invisible to acceptable because her leverage evaporated, not because your value exploded. Segment 3. So here we are. The part where everything snaps into focus and the fog finally clears. If you're a man in your 40s, average looks, average to decent money, no criminal record, no mountain of debt, you are currently living through the single biggest power inversion most men will ever experience in their entire dating lives. For the first time, the leverage is yours. And the women who spent 15 years treating you like background noise are now acting like you're the last helicopter out of Saigon. The question is, what are you going to do with that leverage? Most guys, when the validation finally arrives, make one of two massive mistakes. Mistake number 1, They get drunk on the attention and wife up the first 40-something who shows them enthusiasm. They convince themselves, she's mature, she's beautiful, she chose me, this must be real. 6 months to 3 years later, they're sitting in my office shell-shocked, paying alimony to a woman who never truly respected them, raising another man's teenagers, and wondering how the best thing that ever happened to me turned into quiet contempt and separate bedrooms. Mistake number 2. They get bitter, go full revenge mode, and start running players' games on women who are clearly settling. They pump and dump. They string along multiple 40-somethings. They post "Where were you at 25?" Memes. It feels good for about 6 months until the emptiness sets in and they realize they just became the exact stereotype the red pill forums warned them about. There's a third path, and it's the only one that actually wins long-term. Ruthless, clear-eyed clarity. You now have options you didn't have at 25. Real options. Use them like a man who finally understands the game instead of a teenager who just got handed the keys to a Ferrari. Option A. Date women your age or slightly older, but do it with both eyes open. If you go this route, vet like your future peace depends on it. Because it does. Ask the uncomfortable questions early. Why are the men you actually wanted unavailable now? How much resentment are you carrying about having to settle? Are you comparing me to your ex in your head every day? If I was 6'3" and made twice as much, would we even be having this conversation? If she can't answer those honestly or gets defensive, walk. A woman who has truly made peace with reality will admit the market shift without shame. A woman who hasn't will punish you for it later. Option B. Date significantly younger, late 20s to mid-30s. This is statistically the path most high-functioning men in their 40s quietly take. And it's not just about tighter skin. The entire dynamic is healthier. She has little to no baggage, no ex-husband orbiting, no teenagers testing your authority. Your resources and stability are genuinely impressive to her, not just table stakes. She's not racing a biological clock that's already exploded. The timeline pressure is low or non-existent. She looks at your 43-year-old life and thinks success, not he'll do. The power balance actually favors you, so resentment rarely grows on her side. Yes, people will call it shallow. Yes, your 42-year-old female friends will side-eye you. Doesn't matter. Your happiness isn't a democracy. Option C. Stay single and enjoy the best years of your life. A lot of men in their 40s are discovering something women figured out in their 20s. Being alone is vastly preferable to being in a low-grade, resentful relationship. You've got money that isn't getting siphoned by child support. You've got freedom that isn't dictated by custody schedules. You've got peace that isn't interrupted by passive-aggressive comments about what could have been. Travel, lift, build businesses, mentor younger guys, sleep diagonally across the bed. You don't owe anyone your prime just because they finally noticed you exist. Whatever you choose, the key is to choose consciously. Do not let the sudden flood of attention trick you into thinking you finally made it. You didn't make it. The market simply corrected. And you happened to be standing in the right place when the pendulum swung. To the women reading this who feel a spike of anger right now, I'm not celebrating your pain. I'm describing reality so you can stop lying to yourselves and to the next generation of girls. Telling 25-year-olds focus on your career. Relationships can wait. Live your best life while quietly knowing the data is the cruelest possible advice you can give. Youth and fertility are currency, whether we like it or not, and currencies depreciate. If family is the goal, the time to cash in that currency is when it's at peak value. Pretending otherwise doesn't make it less true. It just creates another cohort of 40-year-olds wondering where all the good men went. Final word to the men. You spent your 20s and 30s being told you weren't enough to short, to broke, to average, to nice. Now the same voices are telling you that you're suddenly enough. Don't believe the new story any more than you believed the old one. The truth was always in the middle. You were always enough for the right person. The difference is that the right person now has dramatically fewer choices. And you finally have dramatically more dots, so don't simper. Don't gloat. Just decide, with cold clarity, what you actually want. And go get it on your terms, because for the first time in your life, the market finally works for you instead of against you. Don't waste the moment romanticizing women who romanticized everyone except you for 2 decades. You deserve to be desired, not defaulted to. You deserve to be chosen, not compromised on. You deserve to be someone's hell yes, not their well. And right now, at 40 plus, you finally have the power to demand exactly that. The market corrected. The power shifted. Use it wisely, or don't use it at all. But never, ever forget what it actually is.